Yo, what's going on, everybody? Hopefully, you guys are blessed and doing well. Welcome to another video. And if you guys didn't get the chance to check out the last video I posted, I encourage you guys go check that video out. Because in that video, I let y'all know that I was invited to the Good Soil Conference, where I did a lot of great networking. I got to interview 9 high-level entrepreneurs that are doing amazing things in their industry and in their fields. And I really want to make this video talking about some different traits, characteristics, and things that I learned from looking at these and studying these entrepreneurs. So beforehand, look, I'm thinking of questions to ask every single one of these people. I'm trying to think of unique questions. I'm reading their bio. I'm listening to their interviews, and I do as much as possible to study these people, right? Even when they're right next to me, I'm looking at how they walk. I'm looking at how they're intentional with their time. I'm looking at all types of things. It's just how I've always been like that. Like when I see somebody successful, I want to know everything about them or as much as possible. And I want to know how they act, right? And so I'm gonna give you guys 4 things that I learned. They're not necessarily like, yo, all 4 people woke up at 4:30 a.m. and they do a cold plunge. It's not gonna be that typical stuff you see on social. These are things that I observed from interviewing these people. So, number one, the first thing I noticed is how every single one of the successful people that I interviewed at that conference or that I didn't interview, how they treat people. There's a quote that says that you can tell the true, um, you can tell, there's a quote out there that says something along the lines of you can understand, um, you can truly understand a person by how they treat people they don't need, right? You can truly understand a person by how they treat people they don't need. So if you go to a restaurant and you see and you're with somebody, whether they're successful or not, and you see how they treat maybe the waiter or the waitress, they don't necessarily need that person. How do they interact with them? How do they talk to them? Um, how do how do people interact with people that are homeless, that are less fortunate? How do you treat people that you don't necessarily need in your life? And look, I was in a room with some successful people, and I'm pretty sure, they don't necessarily need me in their life, but I noticed how they treated everybody. And they treated everybody with respect. They're looking at everybody in their eyes, firm handshakes. They're walking with confidence. They're giving you their time, their energy. They're saying, thank you. I appreciate you. They are super respectful. Every single one of these people were super respectful, grateful to talk to me. And I noticed that about everybody that I encountered. And it's funny because on the flip side, a lot of people that are low frequency, they treat people that they don't need like crap, like junk, right? They're disrespectful. And look, we see this a lot. We don't got to go down the line, but the point is that every single person I interview, they treat everybody with respect. If they're talking to you, they're talking directly to you. They're giving you their energy, they're giving you their time, and they're giving you their respect, right? And then they move on to the next person. So I noticed that, and I was like, man, that's something that I can do a better job of is when I'm talking to something, being more in the moment, being more attentive to that person, and giving them all of me in that moment. So that was number one. Number two, quitting is not an option. You said, yo, Chris, you weren't going to give us the basic stuff. And look, yes, I did say that. But you can feel in the spirit of every single person that I interviewed, they had something traumatic or something that they went through and they overcame, because quitting is not an option. And so I had the opportunity to interview Wall Street Trapper, and I asked him this question. I was like, yo, when was there a moment in your life or recently that you feel like throwing in the towel, that you feel like quitting? And how did you overcome it? And I'm like, okay, this is a good question, right? And he's like, I'm gonna be honest, bro. Quitting is not even in my spirit. I don't even think about quitting, right? If it's something that that God has placed in my heart to do, and it's really a passion, it's really part of my purpose, quitting's not even a thought. And I'm like, man, that is so powerful because look, we live in this microwave society where if we don't get what we want within 3 months, um, we quit. We throw in the towel. We're on to the next thing. We're chasing the next shiny object. And you can feel that, even though I got that answer from one person, you can feel that spirit from everybody, that they've been through things. And quitting was just simply not an option. All right, number 3, I have written down, I have my notes right here. Get to the spot is number 3. Now, what does that mean? Get to the spot. Now, everybody that I interviewed and that I encountered with, they are very intentional about their time and where they are at, right? And if there's an opportunity to go to a Good Soils conference, they're going to get to the spot. If there's an opportunity to serve, they're going to get to the spot. If there's an opportunity to do business, to network with somebody, to invest in something, they're going to get to the spot. They're going to get there. They're going to be intentional about it. And I think this is super important because sometimes as an entrepreneur, yes, you need to be as focused and intentional with your time as possible, locked in. But sometimes you got to get to the spot. You got to get to the spot. You got to get to these events. You got to get outside. You got to get around people. You got to network. You got to get in the room, right? And this is what people do very, very well. I was talking to some people that before we hit record, and they're like, yes, when there's a conference like this with so many phenomenal people in the room, whether they're speakers or not, you got to get there and you got to do some networking because you never know who's in that room that can help you get to the next level. You never know what piece of information you can hear that can get you to the next level. And I know we can hear and we can consume a lot of stuff online, but it hits different when you hear it for somebody face to face. You interact with these people face to face. You hear it in person on stage. It's just different. Get to the spot. Everybody is look, all those people I interviewed, very successful people, their time was probably worth more than being there at that conference. But the opportunity to meet somebody, to bless somebody, was worth more than probably I don't want to say any dollar amount, but was worth a lot to be in that spot. Get to the spot. All right. So number 1, I noticed how they treat people. They treat people with respect. Number 2, their quitting is not an option. Number 3, get to the spot. Number 4, faith-based entrepreneurship is real. Now, growing up, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but like it seems like business and faith, it didn't mix, right? I didn't see anybody doing it at a high level. And for me, it's like, we always hear the Bible verse, money is the root of all evil. And of course, we don't read the whole verse, but we hear that time and time and time as Christians, where money's evil. It's like successful people are kind of evil. And even in movies, successful and rich people are depicted as evil people. And man, that can't be the furthest from the truth. Faith-based entrepreneurship is real. I don't want to say everybody in that room is a faith-based entrepreneur, but a lot of them were. A lot of them that I was interviewing, they were giving thanks to God, giving thanks to Jesus, talking about how God provided a breakthrough in their life, opened up doors in their life, right? It's very, very real. Some of them are using Bible verses to quote what they go through. Some of them pray consistently, right? And so it was refreshing for me to see and hear, because I'm going through this myself. Like, there's some challenges that I'm having as an entrepreneur that's Christian, and that I'm having to deal with, right? And so it was refreshing to see that there's other successful entrepreneurs that are people of color that are doing it at a high level. and they're not afraid to share their faith. So I thought that was super dope. Those are the 4 things that I took away. If you guys want to hear these interviews, they're not going to be on this channel. They're going to be on my personal podcast channel at Latin Wealth. I'll link it down below, and you'll be able to check out all the interviews that I had with the people, all the entrepreneurs. If you guys like this video, please leave a comment, subscribe. Let me know down below what you think, and let me know some topics that you want me to talk about as I go through this journey as an entrepreneur who is Christian, and really as a man that's just looking to develop himself and get 1% better in all areas of his life. It's your boy Chris. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.